Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz, and interesting news, breaking news, is that the main event for the WBO lightweight title between then, yes I said it, then champion Keyshawn the Businessman Davis, may have to change that name, versus Edwin Delo Santos is no longer happening, guys. Unfortunate news. Unfortunately, it's no longer happening. Due to Keyshawn Davis, Mason weight 4 pounds over. You know, it's not a pound, it's not a half a pound. 4 pounds. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. That's very unprofessional for a world caliber fighter like Keyshawn Davis, a world champion. And he loses the title on the scale in the process. So a talented fighter like Keyshawn, who's put in so much work to get to where he's at today, to win the world title, now to defend it in front of your hometown crowd, you lose it on the scale. You lose that on the scale, and now no one, and you rob people of a great fight. This was going to be Keyshawn versus Edwin Delo Santos was going to be an explosive battle. You know, both guys, this fight would have been nip and tuck, a lot of power punches, vicious exchanges. It would have been a firefight. Very fun fight. But due to Keyshawn's unprofessionalism, missing weight by 4 pounds, the fight is canceled. And it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunately the right call. You know, it sucks for those that bought tickets, because Keyshawn was the attraction here. He did the main event. It was in Norfolk, Virginia, where he's from. And yeah. So in the process now that Keyshawn and Edwin is no longer on the card as the main event, the new main event is now what was supposed to be the co-main. And it's not what everyone paid their monies for, paid their ticket for, but they're gonna get it. And that is in the form of, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people's opinions and fans, it is the hottest, the most exciting prospect in boxing today, Abdullah Mason, 18-0, 16 explosive, exciting, electrifying knockouts, who is ranked number 2 by the WBO, number 15 in the IBF, and number 4 in the WBC. So on Instagram, I said that Keyshawn Davis versus Abdullah Mason is a great fight. In a year, not now. Everyone is jumping on me. Well, not everyone, but some are jumping on me saying, nah, let it happen now. Why not? Why not? And then I coming back and said that the reason for that is Abdullah Mason is on the rise. You know, he still has a little bit to prove. But based on what I've been seeing and what we've been seeing about Abdullah Mason, he's exciting. He hits hard. He's explosive. He can take a shot. He can get dropped, get up. He has that what you call it? That next level thing, you know, like when it's time to bite down and things gets tough in there, he has what it takes to pull through. You know, he's only 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. And yesterday at the press conference, Keyshawn had a lot to say to Abdullah Mason. He was talking so much crap. And I understand Keyshawn, you know, he's great at trash talking, selling fights. And I'm not gonna lie, boxing needs fighters like Keyshawn. Keyshawn doesn't have any filter in his mouth. He doesn't hold back. He says what he has to say, and he calls out all kinds of fighters. You boxing needs fighters like Keyshawn. That it's not gonna duck or smoke. So he had a lot to say to Mason, saying that once I knock Edwin Delo Santos out, fight me next. Because, as we all know, Abdullah Mason is very impressive. He's been very impressive, very electrifying. So, and like I said, it's a great fight. It's a great fight, stylistically. You know. And you know what? I changed my mind. Let's have it. Abdullah Mason has been showing us that he's got the goods. He's ranked in almost all organizations except the WBA. So that says a lot. And not only that, he's ranked number 2 in the WBO. And who held the WBO title recently? Keyshawn Davis. Lost it on the scale earlier today. So now I see where Keyshawn was saying, like, let's make it happen next. Well, he's Abdullah Mason number 2. So, but the thing is, Keyshawn is no longer the champion. So, but it can still happen. It's a fight that can still happen. Keyshawn, maybe not at 135 because I think Keyshawn eventually is going to move up. I don't know why he missed 4 pounds. I don't know if it's because he's unprofessional or his body's growing. But yeah, Abdullah Mason will eventually move up. I don't think 135 is going to be his weight. So these two guys, when they fight, is going to like to be at 140. But it's going to be an explosive, great fight. That's mouth-watering. That's definitely main event anywhere. But Keyshawn Davis and Edwin Delo Santos is no longer on the card, guys. So Abdullah Mason, like he said to Keyshawn, I'm gonna steal the show like I always do. Man, that's not what he had in mind about stealing the show. Stealing the show is going in there and putting on a tremendous performance. But in this case, this time, not only he's gonna do that tomorrow, but he actually stole the show literally from Keyshawn. He's no longer, because Abdullah Mason now is the main event, not Keyshawn. So, yeah, he literally did steal the show. So, he fights Jeremiah Nakathila, who's a tremendous fighter. Good boxer, puncher. Who's known for, he fought Raymond Murataya. He fought Miguel Berchelt. So he's been in there with some good fighters, man. He's been in there with some good fighters. His destruction and easy work of Miguel Berchelt, that was hard to watch for a Berchelt fan, because that was a beating that Nakathila gave Berchelt. Berchelt was coming off that loss to Valdez. So that was supposed to be like a rebound, and Nakathila just picked him to pieces, man. Picked him to pieces and really put a number on him. So yeah, he's been in there with Shakur Stevenson, Raymond Murataya, and Nestor Mercado. Lost to Nestor Mercado by KO in the second round, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. Coming into the fight with Mason. So, and I've said this before, Abdullah Mason, I don't know if I think I did a video on this fight before, but just in case I didn't, Abdullah Mason versus Jeremiah Nakathila is a very good fight, especially for Abdullah Mason. Is a tremendous, is a good step up. Is a tremendous experience for Mason on this fight. He's fighting a good fighter with power. We've been in there with some solid competition. So this is like a graduation. This is like a graduation, because after this fight, Mason is going to definitely be in line for a title shot. He's ranked number 2 by the WBO. So, and Nakathila coming into this fight, he's ranked number 11 by the WBO. So he's still a ranked fighter, regardless of having 5 losses on his record, 4 losses. So like I said, 26-1, 26-4, 21 knockout. He can punch. He's 35, so he's almost on the way out, but he's still dangerous. He's still dangerous. So that's the thing. Let's see what happens when when Abdullah Mason gets hit by Nakathila, because Nakathila is definitely going to land. And we've seen Mason get dropped, get up, but this is going to be his most experienced opponent to date, best opponent to date. So I expect Nakathila is definitely going to test Mason, but of course we all expect an impressive performance by Abdullah Mason. If Abdullah Mason go in there and turn in another dominant, electrifying performance against a solid fighter in Nakathila, that says a lot about this guy, this kid. He reminds me, and I've said this on my comments and in social media, he reminds me of the young Sugar Ray Leonard, man. Very explosive, good speed, good hand speed, and just the mean streak. He got that dog in him. Before the bell ring, it's all smiles and all that, but when that bell rings, man, Mason means business. So it's the new main event. It's a big step up for Mason. Looking forward to it. He's got what it takes for a challenge of this magnitude, caliber of Nakathila. So I expect another electrifying performance. And like I said, steal the show once again. So yeah, Abdullah Mason versus Jeremiah Nakathila is the main event tomorrow, as Keyshawn Davis fails to make weight, 4 pounds over, loses the title on the scale. And his fight with Edwin Delo Santos is canceled. Miracle Boy Boxing. I'm your host, and Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.